All right, ladies and gentlemen, where did we stop yesterday? Level 2 management, right? 2 is this one 2B or 2A? 2A, okay. Where did we stop yesterday? It's exactly here. Where did we stop? Yeah. I know we talk about credit worthiness. We talked about this. Yeah. Where did we stop? Wait. You were not here yesterday. But I remember I talked about this credit worthiness. I think we talked about this. Okay. Then I said, if you want to be, if you want to increase your credit worthiness rating, you must have a fixed address. You must have a job, full time or part time. You must have a kind of income, personal asset. I think I explained this, right? Liability, I explained that. Quiet. We are not playing here. We're not playing here. Please. Yesterday we were talking about that, but we are focusing now, right? Otherwise, we will not be distracted. Right. I don't want us to be distracted, right? Okay. Identify entrepreneurial opportunities. Identify entrepreneurial opportunities. Right. What are we talking about? Identify entrepreneurial opportunities. What are we talking about? Who can say that? Who can say anything here? Who can say anything here? Identifying entrepreneurial opportunities. How do you come about? How do you come about starting your own business? How do you come about knowing that there is a kind of opportunities that you can exploit for you to be able to make money, right? How do you know? Remember what I told you. Entrepreneurs, when they see things, they don't see things the way ordinary people see those things. You, as an entrepreneur, you are always looking for opportunities, right? Where ordinary people, ordinary individual, whatever they see as a problem, an entrepreneur doesn't see it as a problem. An entrepreneur see it as an opportunity to make money. Remember what I told you about COVID, right? Is it COVID or how do you pronounce it? COVID, right? At that point in time, many people were scared. They were worried. They were afraid of being killed, of death, right? But the entrepreneurs, they look at it. People were worried to go out. They were afraid that they're gonna be contacted or they're gonna contract the virus. They were locking themselves in the house. But people look at it, the entrepreneur, and say, this is an opportunity. Why can't we look for a way to provide goods and services to exploit this, what people are looking as a problem, to make money? Then we had online business, right? Home delivery. You sit at the comfort of your home, you place order, people deliver to you, right? So what I'm trying to say is for you to identify entrepreneurial opportunities, what is involved is being creative, creativity and innovation. You need to be creative, right? How will you, what informs you, right? What informs you to be able to create something that will provide, will make you to be able to provide goods and services to make money. Right? It has to be, you have to be very creative in short. You know what is creativity? To be creative. There are certain people. Okay, to be creative, you can look at something that people think that you cannot do away with. You can just get rid of it. It's not something that one can make use or one can make good use of. Somebody that is creative will take that thing from the scrap and turn it into something that we can say, wow. Do you understand what I mean? That is being creative, right? Coming up with new stuff, making use of what people think that cannot be utilized to make money. Someone that is creative will look at that thing, take advantage of it, make it new, and start making money. Innovation. We always talk about creativity and innovation, right? Innovation, when you got a business, right? Or when you got that urge, or you got that innovative trait in your character, you can be able to come up with something new that people don't know about. And once you start that, you put it into practice by starting your own business, obviously you're going to make money. I always like to give you an example of Elon Musk. That guy is very creative and very innovative. Right. Now he's aspiring to take people to live in another planet. People are not even thinking of only this planet. They want to go and live in another planet. Before he was saying that he's gonna be the first person to take people to Mars, to live in Mars. Right? Then later he talked about the moon. Have you ever seen somebody living in the moon? Nobody. But he said, due to his creative and innovative characteristics, traits, he is planning to take people to go and live in the moon. Right. You see what he's doing, electric cars. He's the only, you know what I'm talking about. He wants to, there's another project in the pipeline that he's doing now, whereby you're not going to be using petrol to power engine or cars. You call it hydrogen. You call it water, you're going to put water. Then that water will be converted into hydrogen. And that hydrogen will be used to propel the engine, to drive the engine. Instead of you putting petrol, you put water. You got that type of project in the pipeline. You see, how many people can think like that? You know, they call him the craziest businessman in the world because his ideas are crazy. When you think about it, in the ordinary sense of it, you start questioning, how are we going to realize this? He got the dream and he worked towards his dream, right? So these are areas where entrepreneurial activities is rooted. Then we say creativity helps you to recognize a business opportunity and solve problems. When you are creative, like I said, when you see an opportunity or when you see a problem, you can be able, when you look at the situation, you scan the environment, you can be able to identify where there are opportunities, where there are problems for you to take advantage of. Perhaps you see problems, then you try to find solution to that problem. Then that one can make you, in trying to find solution to that problem, it can make you to start a business to provide solution to that problem. Or you see an opportunity, say, let me take advantage of this. Right. That is what we are trying to talk about. So all these things is bogged down to your level of creativity. Entrepreneurs, they must be very creative. Then we're trying to conceptualize what we mean by innovations. Innovation refers to something new and can apply to technology, product, market, and processes. That is what I've explained to you. Right. You can be, you as an entrepreneur, you need to be innovative in the sense that when you start offering the same product day, year in, year out, it will get to a point that people will be bored. They say, no, man, we need new stuff. I remember I gave you an example of when I was selling the chicken mayo, right? When the guy told me that, hey, my friend, we are tired of this chicken mayo every day. Why can't you introduce new stuff? In other words, he was warning me or trying to imbibe in me that spirit of innovation. So it bring new stuff, not the same thing day in, day out. And I tried it, it worked for me. Right? That is what we are talking about. I gave you another example of cell phone. I told you last time, not last time, I told you before we were using Nokia phone, right? Nokia phone was the best. Even that time when you ask a baby, say, what do you want? What type of phone do you say? Buy me Nokia, right? But today it's no longer Nokia because Nokia, perhaps the way I would describe it, they were not all that innovative. You need to come up. You see, human wants, needs are changing every day. So when you got a business, you should be able to study the needs, the ever changing or the increasing changing of human needs, right? And try to provide goods or services to satisfy the increasing needs, changing nature of human needs. What I'm trying to say is this. Remember those days, my time when I was like you, the type of stuff we used to buy is different these days. Right. Look at fashion. You know, fashion, clothes, right? I could remember those days, young guys, if I could show you the picture of my picture those days when I was growing up, when you look at the clothes we were wearing and the shoes, then you start wondering, you were wearing this type of stuff. But these days you don't wear that. There's a type of shoe we used to wear those days, but I was still small that time, right? It's a high like this. They call it block. The shoe is high like this. Then the pants, you know how it used to look like at the bottom, is very wide like this. And if you are not wearing that, you are not a guy. Did you see? When you are walking, you spring like this. Eh? That one. After that, there was another one they call stiletto. Stiletto. I don't know, stiletto shoe. When you are coming like this, you are you know? But you see, that trend is gone. So why am I saying this? You as an entrepreneur, you study the trend, right? You study what they need. Don't be stuck in providing one thing year in, year out. Otherwise, your business is not gonna. Once they see new stuff, they will leave you. So you must always keep on being innovative, coming up with something new that is compatible, that is at pace with the trend of time. Does it make sense to you? Right. Guys, let me ask you, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm teaching? Okay. Now, you see, innovation doesn't only apply to product, market, and processes. Technology. You could even see how innovation, through innovation, technology, the devices we are using is changing, evolving day in, day out. Right. For example, look at what I'm doing in the class now, making a video. Those days it was not possible like this, right? When you want to make something of such, you must have a big camera, right? You have your tripod. Somebody gonna be there doing like this. You understand what I mean? Let me tell you one thing. Those days, you see this small size photo, small photo, like you use for passport and all those small size photo, right? I hope I'm switching this thing. Yeah. You know how it used to be those days. They used to have a big camera. Sometimes you must Google that thing, what we were using in those days. Then they will take it, they got a kind of a tripod. Then the person got a cloth, he's gonna cover his head. Then you snap it, Then they will take they call it a negative. They will pull it out. They will go to a dark room. I don't know the type of chemical they were using. They will put the chemical, then they're gonna be, washing it like this in the water. Yeah, I think it was water, no? Okay. Then when they finish it, they bring it out, they cut it before you could have your photo. They hang it. You are correct, my dear. You know what I'm talking about. You see, that technology is not there again. We've advanced, we've evolved. You see what I mean? So these things we are doing now were not possible those days. Those days when you want to phone, there was no way you can phone overseas or phone somebody, perhaps somebody in Joburg. They used to send what they call telegram. And that telegram was very expensive. You know how they used to pay for it? They count the words. If you write too much, you pay a lot of money. I remember what our teacher used to tell us that when they want to send telegram, let's say somebody parent is sick, they want him to come home. They cannot write a full sentence. They say, "Father sick home," because they cannot pay. Before that person get that telegram, the parent is gone already, is dead already. It takes a while. But these days now, if I want to chat with my people overseas, put video, we chat. And it's even much more less expensive these days compared to how it was. You see, technology, things are due to innovation. Things are changing day in, year out, year in, year out. Do you understand what I mean? Right. Very soon now they will have a fly. They got it already, a flying car, right? Last time I was asking myself, I said, why can't we have a car like this? When you come to a point, there's a traffic, then you just warm the car, then you fly. I had that type of thought, right? Personally, I've got that innovative trait. So why can't we have something like this? And last time I read it also in the paper in China, they say in China now, I don't know where, specifically where it was. They've got a flying car now. You see? So all those type of stuff are through innovation, and it helps us to improve on the quality of our lives. It makes us to do things these days much more easier than before, right? So all those things can be associated with the kind of help that entrepreneurs do provide in the society. Then meta block to creativity is when once, okay, this one is a concept that I want you to understand. When they say meta block, is when one's creativity has merely been blocked, right? So why I decided to put it here because it's in your book so that you understand it. So now, alternative uses for an object. Okay, don't worry. These ones are concept. Improvement, altering of object, place, or idea, component, breakdown. These ones are still, it's a kind of concept. Component breakdown. You know what is a component? Right? Parts of could be parts of project, no, not project, could be parts of a project or part of a team, a whole, something of a whole that has been uh, broken down. Then innovation, as we said, but the following types of innovation are important for entrepreneur. Identify a new product for an existing market. That one is very important for me to explain. When we are talking about innovation, right? One of the ways that an entrepreneur can be innovative is to look for a new product for an existing market. How does this one work? Looking for a new product for existing market. You've already got a market, right? Like the example I gave to you for my burger. That one is a typical example, a new product for an existing market. Right. I introduce burger to be part of my provision, to be part of my supply now, right? Part of my product to a new market. When you introduce a new product into an existing market, that is a kind of innovation as well, right? Then identify a new product for a new market, right? You look for a new market because your business needs to move. It doesn't have to be static in one position. You must keep on looking for markets, right? Don't say, I've got a market, then you stand still. Otherwise, your business is not, at a point, your business is going to fail. You need to be innovative continually. You've got a market, an existing market, look for a new product to exist, to introduce, right? Or you may look for a new product for a new market. You go and look for a new market where you introduce a new product. You see, you keep on making sure that you are innovative. Don't remain static, right? You need to keep on doing something to make sure that your business survives. That is what we are trying to say. You don't sit, you must always be up and doing, right? Then identify a new market for an existing product. You got a product that you are offering, you need to expand, right? For your business to remain sustainable, you need to go as well, look for a new market for your existing product. That is part of innovation as well. Then identify a possible design for existing product. You can change the design of your existing product. It's another way of innovating. Whose phone is that? It's not your phone. Pick it and stop it. So these are the ways you can innovate, right? One way, a new product for an existing market, right? I've got the market where I was selling my sandwich, right? I had to introduce burger as a new product into the existing market. It's a one way of innovation. Another one is identify a new product for a new market. Right. Perhaps that time I was selling to people in the factories, right? In the shop. If I had introduced another product and look for other place or other market to sell that product, it's a kind of innovation which is gonna help my business to grow, right? Or identify a market for an existing product, looking for a new market for my sandwich, whatever I was selling, or changing the design, the packaging. So this kind of innovation, it helps the business to sustain. Does it make sense to you? Any business that is not innovative, I'm telling you that business is gonna fail because your customers gonna be fed up. The needs of your customers are evolving. Evolving means are changing. You can't keep on providing them the same thing to satisfy the same needs. As their needs are changing, you cannot use old cloth to patch a new cloth. Do you understand that? Right? You cannot put a new wine in an old bottle. Did you see? It must be new. There must be that match. Otherwise, they will leave you behind. It's the same thing, man. When sometimes where people have problems in family, in relationship between husband and wife, right? You need to be innovative as well. Don't say it's my wife. Don't keep on doing the old stuff. You need to spice. Hello, you need to spice your relationship with your sweetheart. Do you understand what I mean? That is why sometimes there is a problem. People relationship got problem because they are not innovative. You must be innovative in your relationship with your sweetheart. It's the same thing in business, right? You must be innovative. If you are not innovative, your business will die. Because we humans, being what we are, right? Based on the fact that life is not static, it's dynamic. The needs of people are dynamics, are not static, are changing. For you to be able, remember you as an entrepreneur, right? Your one of your motives or your why you set up your business is for you to satisfy the needs of your customers so that you can be able to make money as well in the long run. So if you are not able to satisfy their needs, how are you going to make money? Your business will not survive. So yourself, you must keep on researching. As the needs are changing, you must change your provisions, your offerings as well. The product or service that you are offering them must change along with it. Otherwise, they will tell you, we don't need this thing again. We've passed that stage. Do you understand what I mean? That is the take home here. What we are trying to talk about. Innovativity is very important, right? Even yourself in life, you need to be innovative. As the owner of a business, you need to be innovative. You follow the trend, the pace of time. Don't be behind. If you are behind, then you're gonna be left behind. Does it make sense to you? Right. Sources of business ideas. Where does business ideas comes from? Where does it come from? Perhaps from the skills and ability of the entrepreneur. If tomorrow I want to set up an online school, online school, online varsity, huh? Where is that idea coming from? From my skills, because I've been a teacher. I know how it works. So I feel if tomorrow I should step aside to set up a college, I can be able to run it because I've got the skill. The idea is coming from my skill and knowledge as being a teacher, right? That is what we are talking about here. It can come from the skills and ability of the entrepreneur, right? From what I know, right? I can be able to generate ideas based on what I know to run a business, right? It's from my skill. Then it can come from, again, from the needs and wants of people. You look at the needs of people, their wants. Hello, who is, look at them, they're sleeping. Hey, wake up, look at that guy, wake him up. Do you think we are here? Is this place a bedroom for you to sleep? Are you in the hotel? Hello, yeah, put your head up. All of you, don't sleep. It's too early. Maybe I should start asking you questions. I want to ask you questions. Okay. Another source of business idea is the needs, from the needs and want of people. Like I explained to you the other day, when you look at this place, there is nowhere to buy food within here. I'm not talking of outside, which means there is needs. People want to buy food. There are certain people, they don't bring food from home, right? So based on what you've identified or based on the needs that you've identified, then you can from there exploit to start a business and start selling things here. Right. That is the second point. Remember, the first one was from the skills and knowledge. The second one is based on the wants of people. You look around, you scan the environment, then perhaps you discover that they need certain goods and services that needs to be provided. Then you provide it. Then the other one is internal source experience from work to identify the needs, more or less. Then external source, macro environment. You look at outside, look at the economy, the opportunities that are available, right? For example, like I told you last time, based on I told you about my city, right? You look at it, you've heard the government wants to introduce a transport system, right? Then you can say, okay, what can I do to take advantage of such? Right. You can do that. For example, you look at the environment, there is need for safety, right? You can start a security company, right? Where does that idea coming from? From the environment, from the macro environment, right? You look at the way the economy is going, you say, what can I do, right, to take advantage or to leverage from this? You can start something. So that is what I'm trying to say. For example, if government have got a plan, they said they want to build certain construct roads or infrastructure projects, or they want to construct a housing complex in your area, you can take advantage of that to start a construction company. You see what I mean? Then obviously you're gonna have business when time comes, when that project start, when they start executing the project. So those are the things. You know, you as an entrepreneur, you must always think ahead. You know, this is an opportunity. How can I leverage this opportunity to start a business to help myself and to help others? That is what we're saying as far as that one is concerned. Foreign products, how does it work? Perhaps, okay, like these days now, you got internet, right? You can see something on the internet. Perhaps you've seen the product in US or in China or in any of this advanced country. It might even be from a third world country. There is a product there that people are buying much, that got good market. But in South Africa, that product is not there. It's not here. What you need to do, you introduce it. Then you start making money. There's a good company or a good example of that is Verimark. You know Verimark? Who knows Verimark? Verimark. So what Verimark is doing, they travel overseas to US. Once they see any product that's been introduced into the market there and is doing well, they come to South Africa to introduce it. Verimark. You know it. There's a company of such. Right? So that is another way. Like what I told my friend, a friend of mine the other day, he's in US. I told him, I said, you know what? Just help me look for some stuff in US because you were in South Africa before. You know what is happening, the product we got here. Check what is in US, some of the product there that you feel we need in South Africa that are not here. You tell me, I will give you money to buy it, we introduce it. Right? It's a kind of business idea to me. I want to make money as well. Right? So something of such. That is what we are talking about. Then another thing that can help you, or we can say as another source of business idea, is brainstorming. You brainstorm to generate ideas. Mental thinking. What can I do now? What can I do to make money? What type of business? You know, you brainstorm. You to generate idea. Right? Once it is generated, then you launch it. You must do a research, right? Like I said, every business it starts from a simple idea, right? Once you've got that idea, then you need to research on that idea in terms of if that idea is something that can be feasible, if it is a business idea that is viable, right? It's not all business ideas that are viable. Viable in terms of you being able to make profit, right? There are certain ideas that are not viable. You must do your analysis, your feasibility studies. You must research if it is viable, profitable, as if you will. Then, if it is something that you can, is sellable, an idea that you can market to people, marketable. Right. Perhaps you've got an idea, but you don't have the money to put it into practice by starting and running a business. Of course, you will need investors. So if it is an idea that you cannot sell to somebody, it's not going to work because you must be able to sell your idea to somebody, to market your idea, and convince that person. to come on board. So these are the things that when you've got an idea, you need to research that idea, research on it to establish whether it is something that you can take forward. Right. Then, so we said when such idea is generated, like I said, you need to screen, right? The business idea. You screen it. Screen it by one technique one by asking questions. Then techniques two by SWOT analysis. I've got a business idea, right? You first of all see, explore it, screen it to see how viable that idea is. Right. When you've done that, you must do a kind of self-evaluation. That is where SWOT analysis is coming. You look at yourself per se. Do I have the strength? What are the strengths that I've got for me to be able to put this idea into reality in terms of starting and running a business? The strength that you've got. What are my weaknesses? Right? And what are the opportunities that are available for me to be able to make this business a success? Right? And what are the threats as well? You see, once you've done those, then you can be able to make an informed decision, a rational decision, a well thought decision, an evidence based decision. Does it make sense to you? Right. Okay. Now, let's leave Maslow, right? I'm going to talk about Maslow later. Then what does the entrepreneur do next? As we said, I'm just trying to, it's a kind of repetition of what I've explained to you just now. At the end of the SWOT analysis, the entrepreneur then has to review the business and ask the following question. Is the market feasible? Like I said, can it be done? Right? Perhaps the idea cannot be done. So what is going to happen? You will not allow that idea to be like a rope to hang your neck, right? If it cannot be done, it cannot be done. Then you think of perhaps some other things to do. Then is the idea viable? In terms of can it be profitable? Is the idea marketable? Is there a demand? And can the demand be met? Now, I want to explain to you. I think I did a little bit of explanation on this yesterday on demand. When we are talking about demand, right, we are talking in terms of wants that can be converted into transaction. You, as an entrepreneur, what you are interested in is the demand. I think we must qualify it the way economists does. We call it effective demand. Demand that can be backed up with the ability to pay. Right? You might want something, but when you don't have the money to pay, it's like a dream, a wish. Right? But when you've got the money to pay, we can call it demand or effective demand, as economists said. Right? You, as a business person, the owner of a business, that is what you are interested in. You are not interested in people that want your stuff but they cannot afford. Am I lying? There are a lot of people they want to make themselves look nice, right? Polish their nails and whatever, manicure, pedicure, and all those stuff. But they got no money to pay. Are you interested in those people? It's not. She's not interested in those people. She's interested in people that got the money to pay. Do you understand what I mean? That is what we are talking about. So when you've got a business idea, listen. When you've got a business idea, the first point of departure is to screen the idea, right? You screen it before you take off. It's like blind spotting. If you don't blind spot and you're driving, you just drove, then what is going to happen? You pump yourself, right? So these are the things we are teaching here, which are very, very important, you know. So what is the time now? We still have how many minutes left? The period is over. Okay. All right. So, okay. Let's stop here. Then tomorrow we'll continue from here.